Let's blow out a mane of hair with a straw again, and then we're gonna tuck in a face somewhere, and I'll kind of walk you through the process and see how that goes. Anyway, welcome to my channel. Thanks for being here.
Maybe it's only a feeling and not what you said that makes it hard to believe, and why I lose my head. I just want the company of anyone. That's why I'm sleeping with the TV on. I swear I caught in the moment, like lovers do. Will you please leave the light on if you wanted to? I just want the company of anyone. That's why I'm sleeping with the TV on. I just want the company of anyone. That's why I'm sleeping with the TV on. Do you still call my name sometimes in your dreams? Do you still feel the same? Do you still call my name sometimes in your dreams? Do you still feel the same? I just want the company of anyone. That's why I'm sleeping with the TV on. I just want the company of anyone. That's why I'm sleeping with the TV on. I just want the company of anyone. That's why I'm sleeping with the TV on.
I bought some blending gel because I'd watched another channel and they said, you know, to stop the acrylic paint from drying too quickly, especially when you're just brushing as opposed to pouring, it would keep the paint wet. And I also bought one of these. It's called a Stay Wet. And if you open it up, I've used this one, so you're gonna see. It has like a sponge inside and this fancy paper. And then you kind of soak the paper for 15 minutes and then you soak the sponge and then you put your acrylic paint on top. I also added a little bit of the blending gel so that I could kind of keep it wet, because sometimes when I embellish too, that can go over like 2 or 3 days while I, you know, start to embellish. I look at it a little bit, see what it needs, see what it doesn't have. So there's a little tip from me to you, to stay wet and then blending gel if you're interested in ever embellishing a pour. And I'm sorry if any of you are getting kind of bored with, you know, me doing the chicks with the hair thing, but I'm not gonna stop doing them, because like anything with any artistic thing that you do, you kind of got to do it a few times to get the hang of it and start to really develop the skill. So I might sit here for a while and do different things. Will I always maybe blow out flowers? No, I might do flower heads on women, but not blow them out. I might do them slightly different. Maybe I'll do a man next. I don't know how I'd ever do that. Anyway, I digress. It doesn't matter. So if you've been to my channel before, you've watched me blow out flowers on a swipe background. So I didn't really think that that deserved a whole lot of explanation. However, if you've never been to my channel before and you'd like to know a little bit more about that, I'll link a playlist at the end that you can watch with more of these that I've done with a little bit more explanation. However, what I will note is this time I actually just use paint and water only. And the reason for that is I found when embellishing
when you're using pouring medium, it leaves like a plasticky feel coating on the top of the paint. So it makes it a little bit more difficult, or at least I thought, when embellishing with a paintbrush. However, comes to find out, it's a little bit easier with just paint and water. But if you were going after a particular effect on that pour that you needed to use a particular pouring medium, Peter Piper picked a pepper, for that effect, then go ahead and use it. I wouldn't not use it, that's for sure, because then what's the point? And just know that you're going to have to do multiple coats. And I mean multiple, more than what I've done. Talk about multiple coats. She's been like 50 shades of blue, literally. I can't believe how many shades of blue she's been, because when I first did it and I shared this, Donna said she looks a little bit like a Smurf. So I lightened up her face. Plus, you were kind of losing her against the black background. So I wanted to lighten it up a little bit more in line with the colors in the front of those flowers. The front of the flowers? Yeah, you get my point. The flowers towards the top of her head as opposed to the darker colors in the back. A couple of other things I can tell you. Is this an easy thing to do? No, it's not difficult. Trust me, if Tiffany can do it, anybody can do it. The difficulty is more about the fact that if you've got an image in mind, you actually, as anybody who's embellished a pour before would understand, that you kind of have to go with the embellishment. Sorry, you have to kind of go with the pour with the embellishment has to complement the pour. I'm not even explaining that correctly, but in this instance, I have to swipe, blow out the flowers, and then come back in with what the position of the face needs to be. So it's not like I can do it beforehand, because if I did, obviously I'm going to swipe right over that. You're not going to see it. I can't draw it in at that point. So I have to then come back in after the fact, look at where the flowers are positioned, and then determine the angle of the face, and then tuck it up underneath the flowers. In this case, I wish I would have come down a little bit farther with the flowers so that I didn't have to put in her eyes, because the eyelashes on the one side, you can see they kind of don't even show up because it's on a black swiped background. But it is what it is. So I'm going to turn back up the music. Oh, but by the way, if you're liking my content, please like, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you know next time I get up and make another woman with a tree on her head or flower on her head. You never know. And I'll also come back at the end and we'll talk about the dry results and a little bit more thoughts I had on what I created today.
Take a train ride just to see you. Ride for hours just to please you. You don't know how much I need you.
here she is. I thought I did a pretty good job. It's been really dry here, so I had to be careful that it wasn't drying too quickly, especially because it's just paint and water this time, because water evaporates. I find the pouring medium adds a little bit of drying time to it, which is kind of handy, especially when you're like blowing out a full mane of hair, because this takes quite some time to do. You're only watching it, you know, in speed mode, but it actually takes me probably about an hour to do all of these flowers and get them into the shape that I want. And then this time, I don't know why I chose her to be blue. Donna said she, as I mentioned earlier, she's a little bit of a Smurf. And then at first when I did the dress, let's just talk about that for a second. When I first did the dress, I just did it like in the, what is this? It's that beige color from Liquitex. It's not titanium buff. I don't know what they call it. Hold on, it's still here on my table. Oh, it's called unbleached titanium. So when I did the unbleached titanium here on the top of her dress, I just kind of painted it in, if you saw that. And it looked too structured, like it wasn't organic-y. I don't know, I just didn't like it. Okay, let's just leave it at that. I didn't like it. So I then went back with my palette knife, but then it was like this huge blob of white sitting here in the corner with all this blue and copper stuff going on back here. So then I went back in and kind of gave a little bit of definition with the dress with two of the other colors. So the one underneath that is turquoise blue, and then the bottom one is the phthalo blue, and then I went through and kind of just made some little dots on her dress of the phthalo blue. I think it's kind of couture-ish, if I was to say so myself. I might go back in and fix a little bit more of her face and do a little bit more shading. I'm not sure yet. I mean, I'd like to continue to play with her and kind of really practice my blending and brushing and that kind of stuff, but that could take a few weeks, and I need to feed the YouTube algorithm, so I have to show you this, in my eyes, sort of incomplete. But anyway, I hope you like it. And if you like this sort of thing, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you know when I do some other stuff. Some more chicks with hair, or a man with hair, or a man with flowers, maybe a man with a flower head, maybe in a suit. There's an idea. I don't know, who knows what I'll do. I'm crazy like that. Well, I'm just crazy. Oh, and before I forget, tonight is a Friday night premiere night, so coming after me is Pouring Together with Lance Travis. After that, it's Cindy at Cynthia Porter Studios. Then it's art by Donna M, and then Nate Bright. So I hope you'll join us over on their chats as we carry on a Friday evening like we always do. Anyway, ciao for now. See you next video, and see you on Lance's channel.